Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilot. I have Mr. Matt O'Leary. Mr. Greenbean will be with us in about an hour's time. But Mr. O'Leary, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. About as good as one can do in a week where the Jets don't play. I missed our Jets, but it was fun to have a day. I don't know about you. I was a lazy piece of human garbage on Sunday. I sat on the couch and did not move all day from the 1 o'clocks through the 4 o'clock slate, the night game. It was the best. I ate like an animal. It's kind of fun when you don't have like skin in the game and you're like sweating out every play.
It almost felt like, so I had the same exact feeling. And the last time I felt that way, I don't know if I guess we had the bye later last year. Did we have the London game last year? The London game is when I sort of felt like that, where it's like, wow, we get our team out of the way nice and early, and then it's enjoy the rest of the day of football.
That was
although the bye week's nice. I was gonna say the bye week's nice because you're not like, there is no potential loss to the Falcons in London.
Yeah, that's a major win. Also, by the way, a bye week, a Matt O'Leary bye week tradition, if we've been following along for a few years. So every Saturday of the bye week, I go to the Riverhead Cider House out east on Long Island. It's a blast. But I saw like 3 Jet fans who like watch our shit and came up to me. I was like, oh my God, like it's awesome, man. Like, thank you for tuning in to all our stuff. It really means a lot. But I just wanted to shout out the Jet fans that were also at the Riverhead Cider House doing fall shit on the bye week.
And to the gentleman that was at the wedding I attended on Saturday.
Right, there we go.
I'm wiggling on the dance floor, right? He comes up to me. He's like, you're a Jet fan, aren't you? I was like, I watch all your guys' stuff. I was like, here's a wristband. Thank you for hanging out with us.
You brought it to the wedding? You had the wristbands at the wedding?
I had it on the wedding. I had it underneath. So you couldn't see it during wedding things. Right. But like once the dance party started happening, the sleeves kind of come up a little bit. I'm like, marketing.
The move, you got to pop the jacket off. If you're in the wedding party, vest could
go down
come
to just vest.
Yeah, just the vest. Suspenders look. I love just the suspenders if you're really doing it on the dance floor.
I like that. You got to be able to drop it low. Becca was trying to get me to try on my suit like the whole time, like leading up to the wedding, because we're dividing and conquering. We have wedding this past Saturday. We have wedding this upcoming Saturday, and then we have a wedding this coming Sunday during the Jet Giant game. Brian, if you're listening, jerk. Sunday during the fall, what are you doing? Come on.
So
he's a Jet fan, and the wife's a Giant fan, which is kind of funny. So like, I got to try and have YouTube TV on my phone the entire time and not be a jerk.
Yeah, naturally.
But yeah, we got 3 weddings in like a week. So I was all right, I'll go to the one this past Saturday. Becca's going to go to the one on Saturday this week. Then we're both going to go to the Sunday one. So at least there's like little divide and conquer. Crazy.
That's smart. Yeah. But busy stuff.
Yeah. Boys and girls, if you're just hopping in here, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're watching after the stream, please make sure you leave a comment down below. If you want to get entered into our t-shirt/jersey giveaway at the end of this stream, we're going to raffle one off. And all you got to do is leave a comment on this video. So hint, hint, if you're in this video right now and you want to leave a comment on last week's video, you'll be entered into the giveaway at the end of the stream. So, Matt, we got a lot to talk about.
I'm ready.
I mean, we've got the bye week, right? Feels like the Jets win, right? The Patriots win against the Bills, so the Bills fall a little bit further back. They get a second loss in the division. The Patriots fall a little bit further away from Caleb Williams and Drake May, and then the Dolphins getting the L by the birds after the Jets beat them just a week earlier. Matt, how you feeling about the bye week?
Good. It was almost perfect. I can't say that it was perfect because nitpicking, the Lions should have beat the Ravens, the Rams should have beat the Steelers. There's some other ones. The Browns won a crazy game. I was hoping the Colts would win because I have more faith in the Colts kind of falling apart with their backup quarterback than the Browns moving to 4-2. But whatever. Mm-hmm. It was very, very good though. The Pats one was really, really surprising. They looked absolutely horrific the last 2 weeks before this game. Not the Bills one, but the Dolphins and the Eagles. That was like, we knew that was going to be a good game. So not crazy shocking that the Eagles won, especially coming off a loss to the Jets. I almost kind of like that they lost going into that game because it's like, ooh, extra motivation factor. And they're wearing the Kelly Greens. They can't lose in the Kelly Greens. Beautiful uniform, by the way. But yeah, it was really, really good for the Jets. They're a half a game back from second place in Buffalo Bills, and they are 1.5 games back behind Miami. And guess what? They play Miami twice. So they really control their own destiny here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, right. We started getting like rumblings of like, well, the division isn't totally out of the question. And it's like, man, we went from we're going to the Super Bowl to Aaron Rodgers getting knocked out to the season's over. What do you think we can get Caleb Williams to, oh, maybe we can make the playoffs to, oh, wait a second. We got an easy stretch of our schedule. Jets have the easiest schedule of the 3 teams between the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Bills have the toughest schedule at, I believe, 0.556. Dolphins are at 0.53 and Jets are at 0.500 right now as far as strength of schedule the rest of the way out. So there's some opportunity for the Jets to make up some ground here on our division rivals. And like Matt said, we play all of them over again. And I would agree that New England one felt like not a head scratcher, but like a little surprising. I thought the seams were coming undone in New England, Bills getting fired or, something crazy going to happen at the end of the season. And then the Bills, it's like, okay, they're going to get right. They snuck one out against the Giants, but like they'll be fine against the Patriots.
Yep.
Since they lost Milano and Trey White, that is a different team.
It is. It really is. That Milano is, I feel like that's the heart and soul of that defense. There are other great players on that defense. I don't want to not take anything away from White. He's a great corner as well, but Milano and he especially kills the Jets. It feels like he makes a gigantic play in every single game these two teams play. But you're 100% right. They have not looked like the same team. Still going to be a tough game up in Buffalo. Traveling up there and playing a game in November is not an easy thing. So I don't want to write that one off. It's like, oh, that's 100% a win. They can win up in Buffalo. Tough game, but you're right. That does not look like the same Buffalo team.
And Miami, if I had to count how many Miami fans were upset about non-calls on them, I get it. They should have had some penalties that gone their way. There was a face mask of a wide receiver. Tyreek Hill also should have caught the ball. It would have been a non-issue. Either way, watching the Finns after all the shit they talked throughout the entire week and like how high and mighty they are, they haven't beaten a team over 500 in over a year. And to watch the Jets beat the Eagles without their top 2 cornerbacks, plus without Eccles and without Hardy, a mashed up offensive line and their backup quarterback. Meanwhile, Miami's got, they got injuries, but we're missing our top 2 corners. Wasn't an issue for the Jets. Oh, well, our offensive line's in shambles. Wasn't an issue for the Jets. Oh, Tua, he struggled a little bit. Zach Wilson didn't. So kick rocks.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to hear the injury excuse when QB1 goes down 4 plays into the season. Like, and when you have AVT gets hurt for the second year in a row, like I really don't want to hear it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Every team's got to deal with it. And like your injuries are not going to be worse than us losing an MVP caliber quarterback. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Let's move on to Mecole Hardman. We haven't talked since Mecole was traded last week. What were your thoughts on the trade? Jets got a 2025 6th round pick back for Hardman and a 2027 7th round pick. So the Jets gave up a 7th rounder. We're able to move up that round for Mecole Hardman.
Not surprising at all. Like, I'm bummed that it didn't work out, but at the same time, like I've seen people try to like kill the Jets over this one, and I'm not really going to do that either. Like, he's a 4th wide receiver and a punt returner that they brought in, and an undrafted rookie free agent ended up taking his job and playing better. And it's cool for Xavier Gipson. And like I said, I'm bummed it didn't work out with Hardman. And I do agree that I don't think they utilized him 100% correctly either. But, it is what it is at this point. It felt inevitable. And a late round pick swap is exactly what happened when the Rams traded Van Jefferson to Atlanta. So that was kind of my expectation anyway. And he goes back to play with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And he had a nice punt return and had a catch in the game. And, good for him. I don't have any ill will against him. I don't hate the guy or anything like that. I wish him well when he's not playing the Jets. And, that's it.
Yeah, it was, I sort of expected the trade once we started hearing all the rumors and everything. And like you said, this is a good problem. You're telling me that like a guy we signed to a 1-year contract got outplayed by an undrafted free agent, rookie, and we really like him. We want to start this kid that we're going to have under team control for multiple years, or like we're going to, force snaps to Hardman. Like, even if you want to say Gibson maybe doesn't have the floor that Hardman may have provided at this point because of like the NFL experience, whatever, which would be, controversial anyway. I would rather give those reps to the young player Now that's going to be here longer regardless. So that's why I'm fine with moving on from Hardman. The trade wise, okay, what were you expecting to get? Like a late round pick swap makes all the sense in the world. I do think that I thought it was nice seeing Hardman go to Kansas City. It was frustrating seeing him have that one really good play right off the bat with the punt return or the kick return or whatever it was. And then I don't know if you caught this. I was on Reddit and I'm scrolling through and I see a picture of Taylor Swift and Kelsey. And it was like purely like, oh, Kelsey and his friend. And I was like, oh, they did McCall dirty. Like they didn't tag him as Mecole Hardman. It was like his friend.
Yeah, my girlfriend is a huge Taylor Swift fan, and so is my sister. So there's a group chat with me, my girlfriend, and my sister, and we always they'll always send Taylor Swift and like Travis Kelce stuff, and they sent that picture. I'm like, oh hey, Mecole Hardman. I think that was my takeaway. They're looking at Taylor Swift, or whoever, if it was Kelsey kissing her on the cheek or whoever was doing the kiss. And I was like, oh, that's the guy the Jets just traded. Look at that.
I was like falling over because I was like, oh, this has got to be like an NFL subreddit thing that I saw it on, but it was like, no, our Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not even the a football thing. It was funny. It was one of those like almost like in Monsters Inc. when Mike Wazowski is like in the commercial and they put like the sticker over his face. And he goes, oh, it's me, or like the watermark. That's what it felt like with Mecole. All right, let's pivot a little bit off that. Let's talk a little bit about the trade deadline. Deadline's coming up October 31st. So Tuesday, Halloween, 4 p.m. is the deadline. Jets have a few players that could be interesting to some other teams. Carl Lawson, Dalvin Cook, two names that Jet fans are probably okay with moving on from. And then you have guys like maybe a Bryce Hall or I don't think people in this chat want to trade Bryce Huff, but I think there's going to be some calls sent the Jets' way for him as well. What are you thinking about the trade deadline? Do you think the Jets should go out and make a move, or do you think the Jets should be looking to move players? What are your overall feelings?
Can I say both? I would like to see a little bit of both. If I were to put like odds or like a percentage on what I think happens, I think the Jets are much more likely to just sell off a Lawson or a Dalvin Cook, something like that for, a day 3 pick or a pick swap or whatever the case may be. But in addition to that, I'd like to see them add another wide receiver, which sounds crazy because they just traded one. But, as we know, it gets a little thin after Allen Lazard. You're looking at the corpse of Randall Cobb and a UDFA after that. And, maybe it's give Jason Brownlee a shot. And sure, but that's 2 UDFAs that you're inserting into lineup now, which is asking a lot on a team that you're hoping is a playoff team. Guy that I mean, as much as I would love Devontae Adams, I think the semi-realistic one that I'd really like is Courtland Sutton, because that way you can move Garrett Wilson back into the slot and have him do some damage there, because with Randall Cobb and Xavier Gipson, I mean, both of those guys are exclusive slot guys, and you can't really get Garrett in there as much and get the mismatches. So that's what I would like to see. I'd like them to move on from both Carl Lawson and Dalvin Cook. And then also add a Courtland Sutton. But I would think we're more likely to see them just trade off a piece.
Yeah, I would say I fall in a similar category. Like, I'd like to see them go after a wide receiver. I'm a little skeptical as to how much they're going to invest into that wide receiver. Sutton's young enough that I think they would consider like a 3rd round pick maybe for him. I'm still torn as to where I'd want to go. Like, part of me wants to wait till after the season and go after someone like a Mike Evans, who can, be that big red zone threat. I don't think the Bucs are going to move him in season right now because they're leading their division. I think his timeline kind of matches up a little bit better with Garrett Wilson's eventual contract. Like, you could theoretically sign Evans for like 3 years and then let him go, and then Garrett gets his big contract. Other guys around the league, I like Sutton. I just don't know if I keep coming back to the whole Sean Payton and Nathaniel Hackett thing. Like, I don't know if they're going to be on the friendliest of terms where they're going to want to help us out. Now, maybe if we're the only person offering a pick and they're wanting to sell, they don't care. It doesn't matter. I just don't know if I want the Jets to be the highest bidder. And I feel like, do you think Sutton goes for a 3rd round pick?
I was maybe a 4th. I don't think it would be a 3rd round pick because there's some money on the contract next year as well. So I guess it's possible. And I would strongly consider it, but I wasn't thinking a 3rd. I was thinking a 4th or 5th.
If you can get him for that, I'm definitely down. It's almost like, and then you get to players kind of like Terrace Marshall. Like people were talking about him being available from Carolina, former 2nd-round pick. You'd assume probably a later pick, like a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, probably if they're looking to move on from him. I would rather, I think, see Brownlee given a few snaps as opposed to trading a pick and going like someone that route. Sutton's a totally different animal than like the Brownlee, Terrace Marshall kind of level player.
Yeah, because Sutton's a known commodity. Like Terrace Marshall, you're taking on a project. You're like, oh, I hope we could turn him into something, and maybe he just needs to change of scenery. Where like Sutton's one of the best red zone threats in the game right now, and he's a jump ball guy. And it's like, hey, like the Jets suck in the red zone. They are worse in red zone efficiency right now. Like that it makes too much sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. A few other guys, like I would love to see Carl Lawson and Cook traded. Did you see the Pro Football Focus trades that they threw up today? I think it was today or yesterday. So they had both those guys moving. Cook going to Baltimore for like a 6th-round pick, and I think it was Carl Lawson getting traded to the Vegas Raiders for Hunter Renfrow. And I was like, wow, I would take both those. I would do both those trades right now.
Me too. And I understand like some people on Twitter, like Hunter Renfro's done. And I don't know if he is done. I just think for me, like he's probably not the 1,000-yard receiver he was a couple of years ago, but the Jets aren't asking him to be that. Can he just be a professional who gets open and catches a football? Like that would be an upgrade. And if you're swapping it for Carl Lawson, yeah, absolutely.
It'd be pretty cool if you made the move for someone like Renfrow and then you turn around 2 weeks later and play him against the Vegas Raiders, in Vegas. And Raiders fans like Renfrow. I don't think it's a player they necessarily want to trade. I feel like they might feel they need to trade him. Do you think Jacobs gets moved over there at all?
Now you want to talk about washed? He kind of stinks this year. He's really
not done well. Talk about a good franchise tag.
Smart, right? Like smart. Mm-hmm. He had a fantastic year last year, right? Was stellar, led the league in rushing, but now this year, just not the same guy. And he's getting a ton of reps too. It's not like they're giving him the ball. He has a ton of carries, but his yards per carry is just horrific.
Yeah, no, not good at all. As far as buyers go, like I don't think there's an offensive lineman for the Jets.
No.
And I don't feel like Cook or Lawson necessarily provide a whole lot. Like if you can get like a player that another team's trying to dump off, similarly to what the Jets are kind of trying to do, I think that's an even swap. But like I don't really think I want to give up picks. That 1st and 3rd round pick in particular, those are the 2 picks I want to hold on to for sure going into the offseason.
Yeah, I got crushed because I said that as crazy as it sounds, I might rather trade a day 3 pick for Courtland Sutton than give up a 1st-round pick for Devontae Adams, because then you're without
the same thing.
There's no 1st or 2nd-round pick then. And they're like, you're crazy. What do you mean he's not worth the 1st? I'm like, well, I never said he's not worth it. I said that it might be tough if you don't have a pick in the first 2 rounds with this team.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I would not go after Devontae Adams as much as people are like all gung ho about him. And I didn't think it was realistic in season anyway because of his contract. I thought it was a little prohibitive. Even in the offseason, if they were like, hey, 1st-round pick for Devontae Adams and it gets him in New York, I don't think I'm doing it. I really don't. And it's not that he's not worth it. I think someone should absolutely offer a 1st or a 1st and 3rd to get him. I think he's really talented, but I feel like Garrett Wilson is kind of our Devontae Adams, and we need to find a different size profile, which would like Mike Evans, who's going to be a free agent, or T. Higgins, who's going to be a free agent, or, then you can go other routes if you want to go with a Darnell Mooney or a Hollywood Brown. There's going to be a lot of receivers that hit the open market in the offseason, and I would rather go after one of them for the money as opposed to the money and the picks with Devontae Adams, especially when you got to upgrade the offensive line. Like I don't know where we go in the 1st round of the draft, but I got to think tackle, guard, center, whatever, the best offensive lineman that possibly falls to you is the one you should be taking.
Agree, and thank God for AVT, because he can either play guard or tackle. So if you're in a spot where you're taking tackle, great, AVT's playing guard. If it's the best guard available, great, then Joe Tippmann's playing center, the rookie's playing guard, and AVT's playing tackle. But I'm 1,000% with you. It's almost a disservice to your franchise if you're not drafting an offensive lineman in the 1st round.
I want to pivot a little bit more, then we'll get into some super chat questions. The NFL admits they screwed up again. Another time the Jets should have gotten a roughing the passer call, and it did not go their way. No call. The player wound up getting fined. Do you remember who it was that had the hit on Wilson. I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head right now. Either way, second time this year this has happened. Second time in a row.
Yeah, I'm. Was it Barnett? I don't know why that name is jumping out to me. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Barnett for some reason was jumping out. I'm sure the chat will correct us. But I mean, are we surprised they haven't gotten a roughing the passer call since Joe Namath was under center, which is a long time now? So
it feels like it. We're up. I think we're at like 660 days. I think it was December 19th, 2021. 21.
It was against the Dolphins in Wilson's rookie year. And it was a very, very, very late hit, too. Someone clipped it recently and put it on Twitter. And it was like, ball out. Guy took 1 step, 2-step push. And they're like, fine, I guess we'll throw the flag. But like,
I guess we got to do it. It was probably the only one he got all season.
I don't remember, but probably.
It wouldn't shock me. So what do you think? How do we solve this? How do you fix the ref problem? Is it a sky ref? Is it full-time refs? Is it, what's the answer?
All the above. It's insane. I think we talked about this last week too, but it is absolutely insane that this billion-dollar industry does not have full-time professional referees. Like, you say, oh, what do they do in the offseason? Train, practice, do simulations. I don't know, anything, because the product that we get is garbage. It is absolutely horrific. I don't want this guy to be, wasn't like Ed Hockley, didn't he like practice law during the week and would like hop on a flight and then call a game and be like, oh, I'll see you boys in 6 days. Well, let's try it again. Like, that's so stupid. Come on. They're making money hand over fist, and now they're getting the gambling money in too. Like, this is just so ridiculous. To me, that is the first and easiest way is you get, a full-time officials and actually hold them to a legitimate standard, right? Maybe have them answer, a press conference question, something. I don't know. Hold them a little bit more accountable than, oh, we effed up. I'm sorry. Like, that's not good enough.
Yeah, it feels like that's not the Jets. It feels like it's the NFL's way of saying, oh, we can do what we want because there's a distrust in the referees because of these blatant calls, because you can't review certain things, or there's flags not thrown, or there's a flag thrown dramatically late after an interception, for example. Like, there is a distrust in the establishment, the NFL referees. I agree. Have them full time. I was looking at a list. They're like, this guy's a middle school teacher. I was like, very cool, awesome, great game. At the same time, pay this dude enough so that way he can be a full-time ref, like his full-time thing. I would love to see, like, hey, guess what? The same referees, I guess it's different rules, so you probably can't do it. But I would be like, oh, referees for college, referees for pros, referees for spring league, perfect. You guys got a whole bunch of refereeing you could do throughout the entire year. But like, I don't want them to screw up and be like, oh, that's 1 foot in, it's good, and then be like,
no.
Shot myself in the foot.
They make too much money for that to even be a concern. It doesn't matter. Even if you have 6 months off, I don't care. Just as long as you are getting the calls right in the 6 months we need you. That's all that matters.
Dude, I want to see like the Sky Ref or whatever. Like, you don't have to do this whole dog and pony show with challenging plays. There's a guy sitting in New York that could be like, yeah, no, you're good. It's a fumble. It's clearly a fumble. I can see it. Don't waste the time. Then you can challenge penalties. And it's not as like prohibitive. It's not like you're slowing the game down immensely at that point.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way, right? Like, it just feels so. A lot of it feels like just so dated. Like, I think I talked about this last week too, but for a measurement, like they're running the chain gang out there. Come on, there's got to be a better way to measure if a ball is 10 yards or not than them running with a chain, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna put it down here, Bob, and then you stretch it as far as you can, and let's see how far it is. Like,
it's insane. It's like wild to think that that's the technology we're using. It's the same thing that you say in like baseball too. It's like that should be, the strike box is so important. It should be a standardized thing that everyone has to try and, boom, that makes sense. That checks a box. 10 yards is always going to be 10 yards. So why are we screwing around with it? Ball's always going to have to cross the end zone line. If we can fix that and we know where the ball crossed, like, why not do that?
Dude, I don't. We're preaching to the choir here. Like, it's just so. It should be so obvious to the league, but for whatever reason, they just like bury their head in the sand. They're like, oh, no, we're good. We're fine. We're just going to keep making money and doing messed up things, and you'll keep watching every Sunday. And it works for them.
It does. I'm going to watch next Sunday, too. So it's just going to keep happening.
Yes.
It's a constant problem. Let's see. We've got Sawyer. Sawyer joins the OnlyFans. If you guys would like to support the channel, look for the join button down. JETSFAN! Yeah. Thank you so much, Sawyer. Jonathan came in earlier and said, flying from the UK for the Chargers game. Hopefully we get a W. You damn right we're going to get a W because myself, O'Leary, and Greenbean are going to be at the Chargers game for Monday night. And if you guys want to get in on it, we do still have a few tickets left. Go over to talkinjets.com, TALKIN, jets.com. No G. Head over there.
No G. All you guys are the G's. That's why there's no
Yes.
G. You're the real G's.
It's a good line. You guys are the G's. We didn't need to bring one because you guys always bring the G.
I'm really excited about it. I know when Bean comes on, I'm sure we'll talk about it too. But we did the charity event on Saturday. I tweeted about it. I had a table there, and one of the things was 2 tickets to an experience. And a few people were asking, and I gave them the link. They're like, "Oh, I want to come to I want to come to the tailgate. I don't know about the actual tickets." It's like, "Oh, yeah, here's the link." So it's gonna be a really good group of people, and I'm getting antsy about it. I can't wait.
Oh, dude, there's something about the cool, crisp fall air and like everything's like setting up right for the Jets. We come out of the bye. I want to smack around the Giants. Don't overlook them. I'm like very concerned that that's going to be a thing. I feel like the Giants are going to get up for this game. They've heard so much shit about the Jets all off season. I feel like they're getting up for this game, so we cannot sleep on them. And then you go into the Chargers game. And it's like, all right, you're coming across the country. Different time zones. I don't trust their coach.
The defense stinks.
Yes.
And you're right, though. The Staley is, bottom 3 coach in the sport, if not bottom 1?
That team is consistently underperforming. Like, Herbert should be far more successful than he is right now, I think.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Herbert. Like, I think he's immensely talented. And they spent so much money on that defense, and they absolutely stink. But I think the Jets, they've shown it so far this year. They're going to create turnovers, and they're going to make life hell for really good quarterbacks. And I think we're going to see the same thing on Monday night in a couple weeks.
Hell yeah. Sawyer comes in and says, if we trade for a wide receiver, do we go for a bigger body Sutton or Allen Robinson, or a smaller, quicker guy like Cooks, Jahan Dotson, or Hollywood Brown? I personally like Dotson or Sutton. I would go after a Sutton type guy, someone that can help us in the red zone. That's our biggest issue spot right now. Matt, you agree?
1,000%, because I understand where like the smaller, speedy guy, you get him the ball in space, yards after the catch, usually good route runners, can separate a little bit better, but they're just so bad in the red zone. I would love to see 2 bigger guys, and it sucks because Corey Davis would be really nice right about now to be on the outside with Garrett Wilson in the slot. But Alan Lazard, I like. He's not a star, but I think he's just a solid, like steady number 2 or 3 receiver. But having another one of those guys, like I think Cortland Sutton is exactly what this team needs. And like I know you mentioned that Hackett and Peyton, they're not going to want to help each other out, but Sutton played for Hackett last year and seemed to like him. So
yeah, but like maybe other teams like him, and they're like, I don't know if the Jets are going to be the highest bidder for him. That's, I think, more my concern. I feel like Sutton could garner a third, and I don't know if the Jets will go that high. Could be wrong. We'll see. I'd be pumped with it, though. We need a red zone threat. Jay Dubs comes in and says, love you guys. Where are we in the offseason cap-wise, and what areas do you think we target in free agency and the draft? Thanks. So let me get the most recent over-the-cap numbers. The Jets right now are sitting at, I think we were sitting at like 8 million last time I looked, but now my computer is all of a sudden deciding to be very slow on this page. Okay, so we're 7.3 million right now for 2023. That's going to roll over depending on if we spend any extra money this year. We have 30 million in the bank for 2024 right now under the cap, under the prospective cap that they have. There are a bunch of contracts the Jets could move on from if they wanted to. CJ Mosley, I would like to see them maybe stretch out his contract a little bit more, like do one more year but drop that cap hit, because he could be an $11 million savings. Laken Tomlinson, I don't think I would move off of him right now, but his cap number is 18 million next year. You could save 8 million from moving off of him. So depending on how you're feeling about some of your interior guys, that might be something to look at. DJ Reed, you're not going to move off of him. He's a $6 million savings. Uzama's 5.3. Oh, sorry, hold on 1 second if you want to continue talking.
Yeah, no, definitely Uzama would be someone that I would like to move off of. To me, like Jeremy Ruckert is already starting to take his snaps a little bit. I think that he is, um, the tight end two for the second half of this year. But I think Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert are going to be the 1-2 punch on this team going forward for the rest of this year and next year. I think Conklin's come on pretty strong actually recently. I got on him a little bit for drops and some contested catches. Like I would have liked to see him come up with the ball in that game against Kansas City in the end zone, but I think he's played pretty well this year. I think he's on pace for over 600 yards, which is pretty, impressive, all things considered. And they, like I mentioned a few seconds ago, they don't have a true number two receiver with Alan Lazard, but I think for me personally, like Conklin should probably be second with Breece Hall shortly thereafter in terms of targets in the receiving game. You're muted.
I'm going to put you on full screen. I got to take care of some baby stuff, so I will be back. But you're going to be on full screen.
Okay, that is totally fine. I will hold it down. Look at this. Look at this. Love you guys. Okay, we got another one. City Burt says Jets to win the East is plus 1,100. It's a decent long shot. We have the healthiest defense, and the hardest part of our schedule is behind us. I am glad that City Burt asked this question because I looked at both the Bills and the Miami Dolphins schedule. So that's what I want to pull up right now and go over what their schedule looks like the rest of the way. Because again, it's not the easiest of schedules. So they have Tampa Bay on a short week this week. I think they probably bounce back against Tampa Bay. You'd have to think it's a home game for them. They lost in embarrassing fashion. They to New England, excuse me. But they've played well at home. Their only home loss is Jacksonville, but as we know, that was in London. But at Cincinnati after that, Cincinnati's hitting their stride. Denver at home's easy, but they have the Jets after that. That's a tough game. At Philadelphia, obviously going to be a tough game. Their bye week. At Kansas City, which is going to be a tough game. Dallas, which is going to be a tough game. Then they have the Chargers, but traveling across the country, that's a little bit harder. They also have the Patriots, which they just lost the Patriots. I don't think they're getting swept by them. But then they close out with the Dolphins. So I would classify like 6 pretty challenging games. Not that they're going to lose all 6, right? But that's 6 games that are going to be tough for them. As for the Miami Dolphins, if you look at their schedule the rest of the way, they have New England this week, which they already beat New England. I think they probably take care of business. They usually play them pretty well. But then they have at Kansas City, their bye week, against the Raiders, at the Jets, at Washington, Tennessee, and then their gauntlet to close out, Jets, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. So they also have 6 tough games left. Where the Jets, is their schedule really on the same par? Like they got most of those games. We talked at like Cowboys, Chiefs, Eagles, all teams that they still have to play, except for the Dolphins. They just played the Eagles. The Jets took care of already. The Jets' toughest games outside or after the bye, rather, are the 2 against Miami and Buffalo and Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is really good, so I'll throw that in as a tough game. There's 4 really difficult games left on the schedule, and you just got to be able to take care of business at that point against some other opponents. But I like it at plus 1,100. Yes, sprinkle a few shekels on that. Why not? And get after it. I like it. I'm in on that. All right, let's see. You guys, I see in the chat now, I'm putting the chat up. You could drop some cues down in there, and we will get to it. We said, McLean says, Matt, we got you. We'll give you some questions. I appreciate that. McLean says, or MC Lean is probably the better way of saying it. I always say McLean, but it's probably MC Lean. What do we do to attack the Giants defense? Great question. I wish I could put the question up on the screen, but I unfortunately don't have control to do that. So I'm going to chat. But no, we're talking about what to do to attack the Giants defense. I did a video earlier this morning on how much Wink Martindale likes to blitz. The Giants are third in the NFL in blitz percentage. It's 47%, I believe is the number. But there's only two teams who blitz more than the Giants. So usually when you blitz, you're getting pressure on the quarterback. And as we know, Zach Wilson earlier in his career, and even at points in the beginning of this year, really struggled while pressured. But three areas he improved in that regard. While and all these numbers are while he is pressured or under pressure. His time to throw has drastically improved, like from the snap to getting the ball out. He's getting the ball out quicker this year while pressured than he was last year. He was last in the league in adjusted completion percentage while under pressure. This year, he is top 10. And last year, he was last in the league, 40th in turnover worthy play percentage. And this year, he is also top 10 in that regard. So what does that mean? In the passing attack, you have to be able to get the ball out quickly. You have to limit turnover worthy plays. And most importantly, you're going to make completions after that. Don't be erratic with the football. He's been a much more accurate passer this year. And that's not saying he's a perfect quarterback. He isn't a perfect quarterback. There is still, room for growth here with Zach. They need to, specifically in the red zone and getting the ball into the end zone. There's a really, really big need for improvement there. They're the worst red zone efficient team in the league, and he's got to start throwing for more touchdowns. But there is tangible proof or tangible improvement where he went from pretty much unplayable last year in 2022 to this year. He's been at least a playable level quarterback, which is solid. Let's keep going down here onto some of the. Oh, we got another one went through. Okay, look at that. We just got this just popped up on my screen. How about this? We'll do some blitz crew. Does XFL USFL have different rules? If not, and another thing the refs can do the offseason would like refs at camp. Sweat was the guy that was fine. There we go. It was Sweat. Okay. I didn't remember who it was, so I appreciate that. The XFL and at least the XFL, I believe the USFL does have different rules than the NFL. They like to be a little bit more experimental, which is fine. I don't think like that's what I would want these guys doing, although it's what they can be doing. Like I would put them in like simulator training, like fighter pilots. Like when they're not flying, right? They're doing simulators and they're learning how to get better. They're in the classroom. I'd be doing the same things with these refs. It's not, hey, you show up on Sunday and then we'll see you in a week. This next week you're in Kansas City kind of thing. Elmo's World says, are you confident in us beating the Giants? Oh, and there's another one from Billy. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. I am.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
That was awesome. I think the Jets handle business, but I don't think they're going to blow them out. The Jets are not built to blow out teams. Like the point total in this game is set at 36.5. I think it's going to be an under game. I would think like 19-10, 20-13, something like that. There's no question that the Giants defense has played significantly better the last 2 weeks. They gave up 7 points to Washington last week, but that was also kind of like the perfect storm because Sam Howell, we talk about Zach Wilson holding onto the ball forever. Sam Howell holds onto the ball for an eternity and is on like a record-setting pace for sacks, and a lot of it is self-induced. Their offensive line isn't fantastic, that's for sure, but there's a lot of self-induced problems. So that's another reason why I think that line's improved, but I think they handle business. Calvin says, what do you think the toughest part of our remaining schedule is? To me, I definitely think it's those 3 divisional games that are left. You have Buffalo and Miami back-to-back, which is after this next 3-game stretch, which is doable. I would like to see the Jets win all 3 games. Absolute worst, I would say 2-1. You have the Giants, the Chargers, and the Raiders. Those are 3 very winnable games. If you can go into that stretch and win all 3, and you're 6-3 going into the game against Buffalo and then the game against Miami after that, and you split with those 2, and you're at 7-4 after the next 5, I think you're setting yourself up in a really, really good spot, and the division is absolutely in play at that point. Douglas, thank you so much for your super chat. $5, you are much appreciated. Says, as much as I'd like RTP call, roughing the passer call, I'd prefer teams stop taking cheap shots at Zach Wilson. That is 100% fair. I would much, much rather teams just stop taking shots at Zach. I think a big reason why they do is because they know they're going to get away with it. Like that has to be a thing and be a factor here, is they know that they are going or not going to get those calls, and we can get away with a little bit more. And plus, the Jets don't really have a ton of people on this offensive line who's going to stand up for the quarterback, especially with Connor McGovern. But hopefully guys like Joe Tippmann, AVT, and Mekhi Becton could change that, because it really bothered me when Zach Wilson was getting crushed in New England in his first year, gets hurt, and all his linemen are standing around doing nothing about it. NY Jets situation report. My man, what's going on? These guys right here are the New York Jets creator equivalent of the boys. You just got to watch and pay attention when they're on the screen. Go Jets. See, this is perfect because I'm the only one on screen, so I know he means me. He definitely is not talking about that guy Jets Talk 24/7, aka Ryan, or Green Bean, who he does a program with. I am sure he is only talking about me. I am kidding. Make sure to be following along with NY Jets situation report. He is on with Green Bean every week on the Thursday Thick of It. Quality stuff. Good follow on Twitter as well. He makes me laugh on Twitter. So make sure to follow along with our guy here. I was hoping that Ryan was still going to be there so that he could hear me make fun of him, but apparently not, as that did not change. That is okay. We're going to go scroll on down. Rodrigo says, just got here. Matt going solo tonight. So Green Bean is joining us at 9:00. Green Bean will be hopping on the program. It was me and Ryan to start, and then Ryan got summoned for parenting duties, which is totally understandable. And I am holding down the fort, answering questions. Green Bean will be joining us soon, and Ryan is back. Look at that. I love it.
Quick wardrobe change. Had to take care of a screaming baby.
Totally understandable.
Not fun. She's a little under the weather right now. So I was like, so what was cool was I stayed behind the scenes and I popped up the comments on the screen as you were talking.
Yeah, that was very, very helpful. I appreciated that.
Stealthy, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Situation report. Gunny. Our man.
Gunny.
I'll just throw up Douglas again real quick. I would also prefer roughing the passer calls not have to be called against our quarterback because no one's taking cheap shots at Zack. But when they do, I would like them to be called. 100%. Crazy stuff. I got to figure out which kid's crying.
What do you mean? You go back? Answer some questions?
I'm going to keep an eye out. I might keep the door open.
All right, keep the door open. Look, you got to do what you got to do. I am a big fan of the Hawaiian.
All right, thank you. I'm good. I was cooking I had the sweatshirt and I had the jersey on top, and I was like, let's bring the tropicals out.
I love it. I'm always on
coming
board
home
for
from
that.
work, hopping on a stream. Kind of nice. What else we got? Phenom comes in. What's up, dude? Met you at training camp. We got to meet him. Matt, you, me, and Bean.
That's right.
Pretty sure it was the same day. He says, the dynamic duo. No, Matt, you're Batman. What's your take on the injuries for Sauce and DJ Reed?
Ooh. I think for me, I think both end up getting cleared. They haven't been back to the facility yet, which I think is a big part of it. Like they weren't there Monday, or they didn't practice Monday. Tuesday is their off day. So I think we'll know Wednesday. And same with Joe Tippmann, too, is someone that Robert Saleh said, we'll know more on Wednesday, which I don't know. Does Joe Tippmann have like special healing powers? Did he go from like someone who's going to be out for the season until he's going to start? Like what's happening here?
Well, I think what we hear initially, right? Like let's timeline this. You had Joe Tippmann. We think he's got a thigh and we think it might be serious, I think was the initial report.
Correct.
And then we follow that up. We heard from Samini on Asman's podcast saying he's been hearing quadriceps tendon injury, but there leaves a lot to be open, a lot left there. Is it a sprain or something like that, or is it a tear? A tear would be, out for the season. So it seems like, based on what we heard from Salah yesterday, at least it doesn't seem like a season ender, but at the same time, Salah's never right with injury. So I don't know what to believe on this.
Yeah, Joe Tippmann, unfortunately, has passed on, is what this means. He's no longer with us.
I put a comment on the Jets video of the Salah press conference yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday. And it was like, Monday, Joe Tippmann is a quick healer. Wednesday, Joe Tippmann is on IR.
Yeah.
Just like everyone's feeling the same way about this. And hopefully we get him back, right? Because our offensive line with him at guard was looking really good. Unfortunately, we don't get AVT for the rest of the season, but I want to at least get as many snaps with him as possible. Because if they do decide to move on from 𝐒𝐭𝐿, then at least you have, maybe an answer at guard. Maybe center's an easier position to find. Who knows?
They could do it that way. If they want to leave Tippmann at guard, do that. I don't care where he plays. He's efficient at either position. So again, Robert Saleh said a billion times he wants to get the best 5 out there. Fine. Again, if it's center, fine. If it's guard, that's okay too. Left side, right side, doesn't matter to me.
Infrared comes in and says, do you think the G-men are going to stack the box on Zack? If so, what should be Zack's counterpunch Jets up? So I do think if I were the Giants, I would play Zack and force him to beat me with his arm. There's not enough of a sample size of him doing that to defenses to not have that be your main plan initially. I would, if I were the Jets, I would plan to run out of 12 and 13 personnel and run all your plays out of those sets. Gives you maximum protection for Zack, allows you to have maximum blocking for your running back in Breece or Carter or whoever you're using at that time. And then you also get the ability to run play action out of it. And tight ends on the field, I mean, I'm fine with whatever gets Ruckert onto the field. If you tell me I got Garrett Wilson and Ruckert on the field at the same time, plus Breece in a heavy package with Conklin as well, like, I'm okay with that. Those, I think, are our best receiving threats anyway.
Yeah, I am totally with you there. I think something I was talking about while you were gone, but I talked about earlier today on my show was how much Wink Martindale and the Giants defense, they love to blitz. They're third in the league in blitz percentage. So I think the recipe is do what you did against Philly. There was a lot of quick slant stuff and him getting the ball out quick. I think that's got to be the plan. It can't be these long developing plays.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost where the Jets' offensive line hampers some of the creative stuff they can do, because you almost have to trick the defense into not being able to get to the quarterback via the play action. And, having those quick slants or screens, things that kind of take a little bit of the zest away from the pass rusher, if you will. Like, they're not going to be as pinned back, knowing what you're going to do. So the longer developing plays with Zack, I feel like are a little tougher, and you're going to see more of the 5 to 10 yard variety, which is fine. Get the ball into Garrett's hands, Breece hands out on the edge, and let him make one guy, 2 guys miss. I'm here for it. But I do think they should stack the box on Zack until he proves that he can beat them over the top. Then they might have to adjust.
Exactly. I'm with you.
𝐼𝐭𝐭 says, where's Green Bean? Green Bean should be joining us in about 10 minutes or so. He was going to miss the first hour of the show.
We miss him.
We do miss him. Douglas comes in. Tippmann made a pilgrimage to see Aaron Rodgers and be blessed by his miraculous healing powers. That's how he did it. They had dolphins humping in the ocean, and Aaron Rodgers was there, and they both took ayahuasca, and that's how he became a super healing man. That's the story I'm running with.
He had to go on the Oregon Trail. Like, remember the game in school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he died of dysentery.
Yeah, exactly. He had to go. He had to forge the river, all that good stuff in order.
Broke his wagon wheel.
Oh yeah, the whole nine. He met a shaman on the way. It was a great trip.
I love it. JR Jet comes in and says, I don't think a matter of refs not knowing what they're doing, or I don't think it's a matter of refs not knowing what they're doing. It's not admitting when they're wrong, and we have no way to find them when they are. I don't even necessarily think you have to fine them, but I do think that's an option. I think fining is an option. I think having some type of scoring system, like how accurately are their calls versus when someone looks at it via replay and say, okay, that wasn't holding. Like the thing that they do every Wednesday or Tuesday where they say, oops, we accidentally, did that to the Jets twice this year.
So sorry.
I would like to see that and then hold them accountable. Just be like, hey, this is your consistency wise, like, referee A, you get a 95%. You're right, majority of the time. Dude, 70. I understand, D's get degrees or whatever, but dude, back of the line. Sorry, you get to go get relegated to like the college ranks or something. I do think you have to hold them accountable. Fines, I don't know if it's fines, because then you start getting into the whole money side of things. And it's like, well, is someone paying his fines? And then you go down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't know if fines is the right word, but it's like, I don't know, with any job, there's a certain level of performance that you have to hit.
Sure. Yeah, and I like the idea of holding him accountable in terms of like a press conference, because then you got to answer to the questions that the referee or that the reporters are throwing out you, and then maybe you might say something stupid or you might say something honest, and then you get caught and you're like, dang it. But at least there's some accountability. And even if they're going to toe the company line, like, oh no, that's what we called on the field, and it's like, maybe eventually you get someone to slip up.
Hopefully.
John thinks Dalvin is just getting into shape now. Where are you on the Dalvin Cook, like, out of shape because he didn't have training camp? He's a volume runner where you need to get a lot of reps. Are you kind of buying into that, or are you looking a little more at the yards per carry?
Well, I still, even though he has looked better the last 2 weeks, you're still looking at 3.8 yards per attempt and 4 yards per attempt. 3 carries, 12 yards has been his best performance. So I don't like, if you want to keep him as your third running back and activate Izzy and make Michael Carter inactive or trade Michael Carter, fine. Maybe that's a different conversation. But Dalvin is someone who usually tends to perform better when he is getting a ton of reps and a ton of volume. And he did miss a lot of time in training camp, which is part of the reason why I didn't want him in the first place, because he was going to miss so much time. And then the whole point was him to be brought in to spell Breece Hall early while Breece is getting ramped up, and they're both getting ramped up at the same time. And and Dalvin was really ineffective the first few weeks. So I don't know. It was a little frustrating, but I think he's gotten better, but is nowhere near back.
Do you think that they are likely to cut Dalvin, or because you're only saving I think it's like $800,000 if you were to move off of him?
I don't think they're going to cut him. I would be really surprised if they did that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on Dalvin because I was excited when we signed him. The money thing doesn't really bother me because Aaron Rodgers specifically took less money so that way he could get in Dalvin Cook. So the money thing doesn't bother me so much. I like that the Jets are at least allocating snaps in a correct manner, or at least it looks like they're trending in that direction. Like they're giving 14% of snaps to Dalvin Cook. And that's down from, I think it was at 50% at one point this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a fan of that. I would like to see Izzy activated though. I think that's a piece of the puzzle that we are missing.
Yeah,
Jonathan Moore. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was going to give you the numbers. From last week, it was Breece 66%, Michael Carter 20%, Dalvin Cook 14%. And the week prior, before that, even 52% Breece, 31% Carter, 17% Cook. Cook at 15 to 20% is fine. It was really more so early on. He was like 50% and just rushing for 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder why we don't see him more on passing downs, like in terms of like we see Carter as the third down back. Do you think Carter's that much better than Cook, or like is it a blocking thing? Carter's dropped a few passes that's left me a little sour on him at points. I wouldn't mind him and Carter, like Cook and Carter, having a similar percentage of snaps.
Yeah, Carter's been frustrating, man. A few big drops. He's been better in pass protection this year, but I don't know. He's kind of left a lot to be desired as well. It's, his kind of second year in a row where it's been a little lackluster. So I don't know. I'm more on let's see what Izzy can do at this point.
John Moore comes in and says, I bet Dalvin finds the end zone versus the G-men. Man, I would love to see it, right? Like I shouldn't say I'm concerned about the G-men. I'm not concerned about the Giants. I'm concerned more about the Jets not taking the Giants seriously because of some of their own hype coming off the Eagles win, and then looking at the Giants saying, oh, this defensive line, we're going to feast on that offensive line, which they absolutely should. But I feel like this Giants team is going to come up and play up to the level that we've kind of seen the last 2 weeks from them. They played Buffalo tough. They beat the Commanders this past week. I don't know. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be like, if you get to 20 points, you might win that game.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think you're looking at a 20-13, a 19-10 kind of game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, game. I don't think the Jets run away with it. I think they should win. They're favored, for a reason, but should be a low-scoring type game.
Dalvin Cook getting into the end zone. You taking anytime touchdown scorer from Dalvin Cook?
No. Brees, yes. Dalvin, no.
Sorry, John. No dice. �'𝐞𝐫𝐲 Lake says, Michael Carter looking like saggy mom boobs out there, Izzy. Out there. ... Izzy. So he wants to see Izzy.
It's funny.
Yeah, you gotta be like old mom boobs. There's some nice mom boobs.
The saggy kind, the bad kind, I think he's implying.
That's true. Infrared says JETS, Jets.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you. For all you members in there. We got over 400 people in here and only 156 likes. What the hell's going on? Come on.
Drop a like.
You like what you're seeing? Hit it.
And friend of the program, Green Bean, will be joining us soon. So another reason to like this stream.
They're probably holding off their likes. That's what it is. We're not liking it until Green Bean shows up.
I can't say that I blame him, honestly.
I don't blame him. I didn't hit the like button yet. I'm waiting.
No, I'm waiting for something good to happen.
Phenom says, Ryan, I met Shay and Richie at training camp. Looking forward to meeting Bean and Matt.
Oh, okay.
I got you. Okay. I see, all my days were blending together. I was like, I'm almost positive Matt was there for that one. We took a few pictures with people this year.
Yes. I was thinking of oh my God. Weedman.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what the hell's his name? Oh my God. How can I not remember his damn username? It's like the funniest fucking thing.
Weedman.
Is it just Weedman? Like, is that what it is?
Something like that. Something
along those lines. But he's got the whole hat and he looks the part of his username.
That's who I was thinking.
Kelvin says, question. I would like to see Hall and Dalvin in shotgun more. Thoughts? So if you have them lined up in shotgun and you got Zack in the middle, do you put your two tight ends in? Are you having Garrett and Lazard? Are you having any tight ends in if you have the two running backs in? I feel like you should.
Probably.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could have one on either side. I feel like there's a very low percentage chance that the ball's going to go to Cook in any of those situations. Like if you're a defense and you're trying to key in on players, it'd be like, okay, Brees 1, Garrett 2, or vice versa, depending on down and distance. I don't know how much the presence of Cook is going to distract teams on the field. Do you want to see both those guys back there?
No, not particularly. No, I'd rather put more tight ends on the field or their actual fullback than both Dalvin and Hall, to be honest with you.
Yankee Jet comes in and says, do you guys honestly think that Zack can keep us in the thick of it till Aaron gets back? If he just plays average, I said it before, the last 3 games that he has played, if you extrapolate it over a 17-game season, and you're talking about the Chiefs and the Eagles, and then, of course, you have the Broncos, not a great team, but he didn't really have like big stats in that game either. But if he plays the same way he's played over the course of the last 3 games, extrapolate over a 17-game season, it would be a 63% completion percentage, which would be 8th in the NFL last year. It would be 3,600 yards, which would be 12th in the NFL this year. So if you're giving me that level of play from Zach Wilson, then it's just a matter of figuring out the red zone. You figure out the red zone, this team is going to be lethal. 1-9 in the red zone. We left so many points on the board, Matt.
I know. That's the part that really frustrates me. You got to turn some of those 3s into 7s, and then you're starting to feel pretty good. For me, I think he absolutely can if he plays like he did the last 3 weeks. I think he's shown some serious signs of improving. And, I'm not sitting here and telling you he's the long-term answer or he's this great elite level quarterback, but he's playing like, I don't know, the 23rd best quarterback in football right now. And that's probably good enough.
Yeah, you just got to keep it. As long as he's not turning the ball over and the reason we are losing games, if you could say that much, then I think he's doing his job. He's doing his job. He's holding it down. There's a scenario in my head that's playing over and over again, and I really want it to kind of be the case. It's a little scary, but I want it to happen. Week 18, winning in. Rodgers comes back beginning of December. He's just kind of feeling his way out back in practice, comes back for the final game of the season against the Patriots in Foxborough. He breaks the Patriots' losing streak. He gets us into the playoffs and hands Belichick the record for most losses of a head coach. He needs 8 losses. That would have to be his 8th loss of the season, or 8th loss additionally from where he's at right now.
This is tremendous. I like that a lot. Sign me up for that. Absolutely. That would be fantastic. Or what about, I mean, yours is definitely a better option, but can I give you an alternative one that I think would also be exciting?
I think I know where you're going, and I want to hear it.
Okay. Christmas Eve against Washington. It's like Aaron Rodgers, your Christmas. Like here, Santa's coming tonight, and Aaron Rodgers is back.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that they lock it up going into the final week of the season. Then Zack gets a redemption game against the Patriots, and then Zack exercises the demon. It's going to be the future of the franchise years down the line. Belichick gets handed his all-time most loss, and the Patriots have to deal with the fact that they lost to Zach Wilson at the end of their season. And that'd be kind of first round bye, and we win the Super Bowl, and then just some other minor details.
Please, sign me up.
Oh, geez. Okay, what else are we talking about here? I saw some really cool questions. Johnny Jimenez says over under Greg Zuerlein kicks more than 5 field goals. In the Giants game. So I've been taking the over or higher than 1.5 field goals from both the Jets and the opposing team that's going against the Jets because our defense is so good. It screwed me this past week against the Eagles, but 5 out of 6 games it hit on. So I'm still going to do that. I think Zuerlein's probably good for 3 field goals. I won't say 5. 5's a lot.
Yeah, if you set the line at 4.5, right, so you can do an over-under, I am definitely signing up for the under. I'm thinking I might go 4. I think the Jets score 1 touchdown and kick 4 field goals and get 19 points.
God, that's such a frustrating damn score.
It is, but yeah, I hope it didn't change it.
How about them Jets comes in, says, is there one remaining game that we can comfortably say it's a win? I'm on the edge every week. Also, can we expect to see Trevor as the backup? Go Jets. So first off, yes, I do think Trevor should be the backup starting against the Giants. I think he's had enough time. It's been a month in the system. He should be significantly better than Boyle right now. In terms of a win that you feel comfortable about? No. Right now with Zach Wilson at the helm, I feel like we can lose every game that's on our schedule. I just also have the confidence that we can win every game because of our defense and if Zach doesn't make any mistakes. So he hasn't gotten me to the point where I'm confident yet, but I feel we can win every matchup we go into. It just, has the floor of being a loss as well. Matt, what do you think about Trevor Siemian being backup? And do you think there's a game left on the Jets schedule that would be a comfortable win?
I don't personally think that they have a game that is a comfortable win. And the biggest reason for that is like what you said, their offensive struggles. They struggled to score points. And yes, I understand that their defense is so good. They have an elite level defense. I'm really excited about that, but they're not built to blow teams out. They are built like the 2009 and 2010 Jets, where they're going to play stellar defense. They're going to run the crap out of the football, and they're going to ask their young quarterback to not make any mistakes. Probably closer to the 2009 offense than 2010, because 2010 Mark Sanchez was actually a better version of a game manager than I think even this version of Zach Wilson is. So, I don't think they are. I think it's all going to be tight, low-scoring games, which are stressful, but, I mean, come December, I probably win some games.
And you think Siemian is backup?
Yeah, I think so. He should be. It's him boiling it. Trevor Siemian, at least we know, can play a little bit.
Blitz Crew just dropped in and gifted 5 Talkin Jets memberships.
Milk
That's Milk Thumbs. Sorry. Hold on. Well, you can still hit the Milk Thumbs. I hit the wrong button. That's what happens when you do stuff. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. So Keuka Lake claimed a membership. Jordan, Johnny, Chris, and Ethan all gifted memberships from Blitz Crew. So Blitz Crew, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Go.
We'll see you against, not against, for Jets Chargers. Very excited. Douglas comes in. Douglas says, line cook up in the backfield and Brees in the slot. I would be okay with this option. I like this option a lot because I'd rather have, I shouldn't say rather, but I like the idea of Brees only having to make like a corner or safety or linebacker miss, as opposed to having to run through maybe a less than desirable offensive line into a strong defensive line. You kind of avoid that variable.
Yeah. Also, Brees Hall on the outside as a receiver, please sign me the hell up for that. I think he is just a mismatch waiting to happen. And can I shout out another Jets content creator who does good work? There's so many that do great work, but specifically this person has mentioned this before, and I think it's an apropos comparison. The great Jake Asman has said many, many times that the Jets need to use Brees Hall like the 49ers do with Christian McCaffrey. And you saw last night, they threw a little swing pass to Christian McCaffrey, catches it, zoom up the sideline, 30 yards, touchdown. Why can't you do that with Brees Hall? Like he's shown the ability when in open space. He's just too fast. He makes people miss. He can run through guys. Like I think they need to use him more in the passing attack as well.
Yeah, 100%. Get people off their comfort zone. I mean, if you have him lined up behind Zack and then all of a sudden he goes in motion and they're like, wait a second, and Dalvin Cook's back there, hey, things start getting interesting. You can get creative for sure. And I think if you're running it all out of similar formations too, it just creates more and more confusion for the defense, and I'm here for it. MC Lean comes in, says, if he can throw one touchdown, 200 to 220 yards, limit turnovers, I think we go 12-5. Brees and the defense will carry us to the promised land. So if he can do one touchdown, 220 yards, God, man, that is frustrating as all hell. But yes, that's like backup quarterback numbers. So if we can get that, limit turnovers 12-5, I think there's going to be teams that we're going to have to score on. I don't know if I see 12-5 with that stat line.
No, 12-5 is a really tough. That's 9-2 down the stretch. That's really, really tough. I want them to do it. For a young
team too.
Yeah, and I think they're talented, and that's my thing too. Like I always say that I think the Jets, like going into any of their 11 remaining games, they are good. They could beat any one of these teams, but that's not saying they are going to do that. It's the NFL. You lose to teams you're not supposed to lose to. You beat teams you're not supposed to beat. And sometimes it's your week and sometimes it's not. Like, let's be honest. Am I happy that Zach Wilson's played better? Yes, I think he continues to improve. But would it shock you if there's another Zach Wilson clunker in there somewhere? Like randomly? Who knows? He goes out and throws 3 picks against Atlanta and you lose an ugly 20-14 game. Like, I don't know. Stuff happens.
That was exactly the game I was going to pick. It's
okay.
like, that's going to be the one.
Atlanta, Houston sneaky is scary.
Yep.
They're playing
under the radar.
Yeah. And maybe rookie quarterback could struggle against this defense. Like you could sell me on that angle, but I think similar. Remember last year, everyone was like, the Detroit Lions at the end of the year or Jacksonville dub. I think Houston's that game where it's like that sneaky could be one of the losses. Like maybe they beat Buffalo and end up sweeping them and they split with Miami and stuff like that, but they lose like a weird one to, I don't know. We'll say Houston.
I have an odd amount of confidence going into Buffalo compared to like some other games that should seemingly be more winnable. Is that weird?
I'm going to give a really bad co-host answer, but yes and no. So no, because they very much so look different with those key injuries on the defensive side of the ball. This does not look like that same elite level team. Yes, because I think this team is different in their own building. I know the Giants almost beat them. Their only loss at home so far this year was not really a home game. It was on the road in London, which was technically a home game for them with against Jacksonville. But Buffalo is a real tough place to play. I think they'll play them tight. I don't expect, Buffalo to blow the Jets out. But I would personally have a very difficult time predicting the Jets to sweep the Buffalo Bills this year. Can they do it? yes, they could be any team on their schedule. And it wouldn't be the most surprising thing. They really match up well with them, but I don't think I'm there.
I'm sorry, Josh Allen is a
yeah, like
Blitz Crew comes in gifting another 5 memberships. Welcome to the channel. Kevin S, Jets fan, Stud City, Adam S, and Twisted. Boys and girls, make sure you're dropping all those cool JETS emojis, anything else in there. Want to see them in the chat. It's fun when you see the fireman heads going and the JETS going. Gets the people going.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Riss says, Ryan looks like he's dressed as Jason Segel from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Go Jets and Giants can eat horse crap. So thank you. I do look like I recently broke up with my girlfriend, decided to take a huge vacation to Hawaii, and cry in my room the entire time. Thank you.
That's fantastic. What a reference. And listen, this is a pro Hawaiian shirt show. I have put all my Hawaiian shirts in my bins. I swap out my winter and summer clothes. So I made that swap already. But I am jealous. I love myself a Hawaiian shirt.
It's so nice because it's a 4-way stretch. It's a golf shirt, so it's like stretches in every direction possible. I feel like I'm naked with a shirt on. It's incredible.
I need that.
I know. It's wonderful. I feel like my stretchy polos are the shirt to go with in the summer, and then once we start getting to cold weather, I start changing over to flannels. And flannels are like, so comfortable. Flannel. Yeah. Oversized hoodies, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Good hoodies. Matt, you know where you can get some good hoodies?
TalkinJets.com.
You're damn right.
I knew it.
Look at that. Laid it up for him.
Rumor has it you have it circling on the screen where you can see
it. I do.
Even.
I have it. Let me see if I go over here. See if there's any. It'll pop up over there.
Yeah, it'll pop up, but you could see like I like the monkeys one. I washed that one yesterday, so it's in my pile of clothes that I have to fold and put away.
It's in my rotation. It's still like a little warm midday, so I haven't really worn my comfy hoodies yet. I'm kind of in like the lightweight hoodie stage. It's really good though. If you haven't gotten yourself a Talkin' Jets hoodie, you should totally get yourself a Talkin' Jets hoodie.
What I'm a big fan of, and I don't know if it's available for us, but if it is, we might have to have a conversation. I am a big quarter zip fan.
Ooh, we might be able to. You know what?
Sorry, I really put you on the spot there.
No, I'm pretty fast with this right now. Let me see if I can.
A nice quarter zip.
Let's see if that's an option.
Dry fit material. Oh, now we're talking.
I do like that. So they have long sleeve. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Hey, I have to go take care of a thing real quick. I'm going to throw you on screen solo. I'm not going to be throwing comments up just yet, though.
Okay, that is totally fair. Totally fair. So it is back to the Matt show. We're going to do this super chat from Blitz Crew. We'll get to the rest of the super chats when Ryan gets back. I appreciate you guys hanging with me solo. Blitz Crew says, Diggs and Allen not on the same page anymore. The Bills are the most beatable they have been in years. Needed a few more OnlyFans in here. Blitz Crew, we appreciate your support. Always dropping in a few more OnlyFans for us and all you guys. It's awesome to get to do this. I look forward every single Tuesday getting to do this. It's an absolute blast. As for the Bills, this is true. I do think that in years gone by, like, the rust is starting to settle in. Their peak was a loss. The biggest game, the best game of this Allen and Diggs and the Buffalo Bills era was a loss to Kansas City in the divisional round in a shootout. And it was a great game. It was a fantastic game. But ever since then, man, it hasn't quite been there. 13-3 last year, great record, but got absolutely smoked in the divisional round in their own building by Cincinnati. And now you're sitting at 4-3. Like, is this going to be, I don't think this is a 13-3 or 13-4, I guess, in 17 games or 12-5 team. I think you're looking at like a a 10-7 football team, which is around where I think the Jets are going to be. I think this is a 10-7 team. And with Miami also, like, they have 6 really tough games left and a horrific final 4 games. They close with the Bills. They have the Dallas Cowboys in there. There's a bunch of tough ones in there. So who knows what's going to end up happening there? It's going to be really tough, but I am with you. Something just feels off with them, and really the whole offseason. Douglas says Jets were competitive last year in Buffalo until Mike White's ribs were caved in. Yeah. And Matt Milano's not playing in this game, right? Like, Matt Milano with the massive hit. And guess what? Was there a roughing the passer penalty called for those keeping track at home? No, there was not a roughing the passer penalty called on that Matt Milano hip where he folded up our guy like a cheap accordion. That was really, really sad to see. And honestly, I think the Jets probably make the playoffs if Mike White's ribs don't get caved in and he plays the rest of the way and stays healthy. I think they probably would have made the playoffs last year. Jets for life. Welcome to the OnlyFans, baby. Oh, things you just absolutely love to see. Thank you. Blitzcrew says Tommy Bahama has solid Jets Hawaiian shirts. Sign me up for that. I am in. I have an Islanders.
I did
Hawaiian
hear
shirt.
about that, by the way.
Oh.
I've seen that. Sorry, we're a little under the weather. Can we have the match, the guys? We're not feeling hot.
I hope you feel better.
I'm gonna hide myself, but I saw the Tommy Bahama shirt and I was very excited, so I had to hop back.
Okay.
I'll be behind the scenes.
That is totally fine. You can put me back up. Tommy Bahama Hawaiian shirts. We are here for that. Douglas says, I think of the Monkeys one as the Trevor shirt. I'm missing the reference. What's the Trevor shirt? Ryan, do you know what the Trevor shirt is behind the scenes? Maybe?
I do not know what that means.
Okay. So he doesn't know. The man behind the curtain doesn't know what that means either. I'm not sure, but I am a big fan of the Three Monkeys design. Ryan's very creative with the stuff behind the scenes. He is the OG of that. It really means a lot. Horatio says, Talkin Jets live, just arrived. Where's Bean? Well, Bean is traveling right now. Bean is on his way to New Jersey. He was projected to come on at 9. I'm assuming he is stuck in horrific traffic, and Ryan is dealing with a sick baby. So right now it is me answering your questions, and I hope Shay feels better soon. MC Lean, how nice of Ryan to honor Tua after the Dolphins lost by wearing the Hawaiian shirt. That is quality content from my MC Lean. That's amazing. Yes. And I wish he could have rocked it after the Chiefs game to honor Andy Reid, but we are honoring Tua and the Dolphins after their unfortunate loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you. Go Birds. Matt, what can you make of the JBC activation? I don't think it means Sauce and Reed aren't playing. What do you think? Yeah, I don't think it really has anything to do with the health of those guys. They had, like, he was ready to come off of IR. So it was pretty much you got to activate him or release him. And I don't think that was a spot where they were going to release someone that they spent a draft pick on. Now, I don't expect him to play a ton, but to me, this has no bearing on what is going to happen with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed this week. Is Von Miller washed? Haven't heard much of him. Let's see Von Miller's numbers this year. I think he didn't play in that or he was on IR for the first 4 games of the year. He's played 3 games. He doesn't have a sack yet this year. He has, let's see if they have any pressure numbers. He has 1 hurry. So it's been a slow year. He may be washed, which is fine. He's 34 years old. He was one of the best pass rushers of his time for a very, very long time. So no shame in that. Father Time gets everybody. I think of the Monkeys one as the Trevor shirt. Trevor Siemian. Oh, okay. Okay. Trevor Siemian. That makes sense. Okay. So he's a Trevor Siemian fan. I am too. I think
that didn't make any. I don't understand how the Monkeys and Trevor Siemian relates. Is it like Trevor Homo sapien kind of thing, or
maybe I don't, maybe he's saying he likes that's his second favorite thing that we have, and Trevor Simeon's his second favorite quarterback on the roster. That's how I'm taking it.
I gotcha.
I don't know.
I'm lost.
Is Dwayne Brown still on IR? As of right now, yes, he is able to. He can be activated off of IR. And Robert Saleh spoke in his press conference on Monday, and he pretty much said, we're going to play the best 5. And to me, like, that means he is still out. I'm sorry, Dwayne Brown. I think you just become depth at that point, because Mekhi Becton's done a nice job of holding down the left tackle spot the last few weeks, and I don't want to change that unless Max Mitchell just becomes unplayable, which he hasn't been so far. I think Max Mitchell's done a fine job so far filling in, but I think Dwayne Brown's gonna just kind of hang out for a little bit. I don't expect to see him back anytime soon. Elmo's World says, my wife is a Giants fan. I'm so sorry. And we're expecting a baby in November. Going to make her life hell with 2 Jets fans in the household. Okay. So yeah, I was always kind of curious, I guess, like how that would go. Like if you're a Jets fan and your wife is a Giants fan, what do you raise the kids as? I'm not going to have that problem. My girlfriend's a big Jets fan, or her dad's a big Jets fan. We get along really well. But I don't know. Like, what would you do in that spot? Like, I couldn't deal. Like, is there shit talking involved? Because if I woke up every day and I was getting chirped about the Jets from my wife, I would be very upset.
Oh man, you'd have to like have a low speaker playing JETS Jets like in the like from the little light in the baby room. You'd have to.
Yeah, you got it. Like some subliminal thing, right?
I think so. You good hanging like this, kid? All right, we'll see how this goes. Just chilling. A little under the weather right now. We're starting to run really fast. We got a little bit of a bruise, running a little faster into things now.
Oh no, that hurt.
We got a note from daycare. They're like, slide. I was like, well, she loves the slide. So, slides, they creep up on you, right?
I have a really funny story with that. Yes. In 3rd grade, you ever play the game Butts Up or Asses Up? We called it Butts Up. Okay.
What does that work?
Handball, you throw it against the wall, you got to get it, and then run to the wall if you drop it, and then someone could throw it against the wall.
Oh, we called that a word I don't think I can actually say on stream.
Okay. Totally fair.
Like I know that self-inflicted. It was like a wall ball style game, but yes, I have played that.
Yeah. There's many different names. Okay, so I was playing that game in 3rd grade, in elementary school, and me and this girl, I'll never forget. Shout out Zaire Mitchell. Went to reach down for the ball at the same time, and she got it first, and she was coming up with it, and her head hit me directly in the eye, and I had a massive black eye. But no one told my mom. Like the nurse didn't call my mom, be like, hey, like no big deal, Matt's fine. He just got hit in the head at recess. They were playing, and explain what happened. So I come out of school with a huge black eye, and my mom is like, what happened to you? Like, what the hell happened to you in the 6 hours that you were here?
Pretty funny. I have a very similar story. Same game, actually. And I touched the wall, and I turned around, and the ball was flying at my face and hit me in the eye.
Oh, there you go. Wow. We have injuries from Butts Up or whatever you called it in your local area.
Love it.
I know there's a lot of different variations of names for this.
There really is. James comes in. James says, how does Zack thrive against Wink's heavy blitzing defense? Zack makes mistakes against the blitz. Maybe do you run into the blitz with Breece and try to neutralize it? Or do you try to throw more screens, kind of limit the amount of times they can pin their ears back? They're starting to do it a little bit more with Kayvon Thibodeau.
So, yes, they are. I would run right at Kayvon Thibodeau, to be honest with you. Like, the game plan here is they're going to run the ball a lot. But even if, like, that's the plan, right? Like, Zack's still going to throw, 25 times? At least, probably in that 25 to 30 range, we'll guess. I think that the plan has to be to get the ball out quickly. And Zack has actually improved this year against the blitz. Last year, in adjusted completion percentage and what was the other one? Turnover-worthy play percentage. he ranked dead last against pressure, like 40th out of 40 people. He is 5th best in one category and 6th best in the other right now. He is not throwing like the turnover worthy plays are way, way, way down. His adjusted completion percentage numbers are way, way, way up. So there is hope that the underlying numbers are showing that he can make his way out of this and actually be a little bit more functioning under pressure this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they attack that, because Zach has been, historically not great against the blitz. So you gotta pivot. Blitz Crew says Simian as a primate. I'm guessing JR Jet says the same thing. Simian is another word for ape or monkey.
Oh, I'm a dummy. Don't ask me anything science related. Yeah, that is way over. Math, science, no good. English or social studies, a little bit better.
Yeah, Douglas comes in too. He says Simian is an order of primate. So much for that joke. Sorry. I see. It's funny. I knew sort of ish where you were going. I was thinking of Homo sapien. So I guess that simian, sapien. I was trying to use my context clues. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Jingle Dub says my 7-year-old is sick too. Lots of shit going around. I took a sick day to stay home with him today. Tomorrow it's my wife's turn. So I'm actually going to a Devils game tomorrow. My buddy got tickets, so I was like, "Oh, Beck and I were gonna go," and now because someone's sick,
not gonna name any names.
But I think I'm flying, not solo. I'm going with some other friends. I think, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, kind of neat. I'm a Rangers fan, but like going to a Devils game, so I gotta wear red. I don't have a Devils like.
That's fine.
Jersey.
But live hockey is very fun. I'm anti going to football games and watching them. I am very pro in-person experience for hockey and baseball games.
In person for hockey is so much fun. I feel like at home for football is like the product is made for at home on the couch.
1000%. Could not agree more.
Let's see. Chrome says it was never running backwards or throwing passes into the ground. He struggles to move the ball because he doesn't scan the field. Talking about Zach Wilson. It feels like he's starting to go through some progressions. Maybe like depending on time. Red zone, not so much. Red zone, I feel like it's two steps and out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he goes through his progressions well, but he is doing it more this year than he has in years gone by. Which again, slight progress.
Yeah, baby steps, right?
But yeah, slight progress.
Billy says Zach is going to play really good ball, and the Jets are going to get offers for him in the offseason. Zach is going to force you to commit to him. I mean, I would love that problem to happen. I think it's more likely that the Jets work out an extension with Zach this offseason in terms of like, hey, we'll give you maybe more money in 2024 and give you the equivalent of what the 5th-year option would have been in 2025 as long as you're the starter. Like some sort of like this or that style thing. So if Rodgers wants to play 2 more seasons, we can get it. But then that following year, maybe there's a situation where you cannot franchise Zach and you have to commit at that point. I don't think they're going to have to use the 5th-year option, but I do think they commit to Zach for 2 years.
Yeah, well, next year his guaranteed salary is $5 million. His cap hits 11. So yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe they do that. Yeah. Okay.
Right, because his 5th-year option is going to be, I think, like $20-some-odd million, and the Jets just aren't. I don't think they're going to commit to that.
This is shocking. Okay, so you use over the cap, right, for stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So you know how they have their OTC valuation?
Yes.
Of like what they think the player is worth based on what.
Yeah.
Take a guess for Zach Wilson's valuation right now. What they have it at.
So should I be taking into account the inflated nature of quarterbacks in general?
Yes, you should be taking into yes.
So like rookie contracts a benefit for us currently, I think. Are we saying current like most last 3 games? Because it shows like the valuation like dots, right?
It very well may, but right now all I'm looking at is just highlighted. It says 2023 OTC valuation and then this number.
Ooh. I'm going to say 20 million.
$20.25 million.
Damn. Look at me go. Wow, yeah, I believe it. If you're saying we're getting about average quarterback play from Zach, that's what the going rate is, right? So maybe the 5th year option's squarely on the table.
Maybe. That's tough because then you're gonna have to roster Wilson and Rodgers at that price point is going to be a challenge.
Maybe it's a thing where it's like, okay, well, exercise is. I just don't see how you exercise 5th year option. That's just too much money.
Yeah, it is.
If he's the starter in 2 years, I have no problem paying him the 5th year option, like at all. Like, go for it. Pay him, like, for him to stay on the roster rather than declining it and then rolling into the offseason needing to pay him almost like a Danny Dimes level situation.
Yeah, I don't think you do it that way. I think I think the Jordan Love route is the way to go, where they give him like the bridge deal, where like he hasn't been great, but it's not going to kill him. They have to get out of it after this year.
Now remind me, the Love deal similar to what I was just saying, the 2-year contract that kind of bumps up pay a little bit, but lets him get.
Well, they might have picked up his. I don't remember if they picked up his 5th year option, but he got a 2-year deal, and it was no, I'm sorry, it was a 1-year extension.
Okay,
actually, for at 13.5 million, but this is his 4th year in the league, so the 13.5 kicks in for next year,
for next season. Okay,
but his cap hit this year is 4.4, and then it goes to 7.7, and then a 5.3 after that.
Yeah, Zach's going to be an interesting character because I don't think there's going to be a team out there that's going to pay him the crazy contract, and I do think he would be willing to sit 1 extra year beyond maybe where he could have been, so that way he's comfortable with his coaches in a spot that drafted him. I mean, maybe I'm misreading that. Like, where do you kind of see this going?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a big extension. I think if he or like, I don't think you franchise tag him. I don't think you pick up his 5th year option after this year. I think if anything, it's going to be like that short term, hey, let's just get you over the hump and see kind of a thing. But I'm not even really I'm not there yet. I'm not even really concerned about that right now.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have like after the draft. Think about it prior to the draft, but after.
Yeah, correct. Worry about that a little bit later.
MC Lean comes in and says, Zach went from hot garbage to one of those lavender-scented trash bags. We just need a little more from him, and we're golden. Gold Zone reference. I like that. We had the scented garbage bags. They're kind of nice. They're delightful.
They are fantastic. I am a big fan of the lavender scented bags. But he went from flaming dumpster to now, like you said, scented garbage. So we're trending in the right direction. Can I run to the bathroom quick and you hold it down for a couple questions?
Absolutely. I've got it. Here, watch this. We'll even do the full screen. Bam. Oh, no, wrong full screen. No. Is this one me? No, that's you too. All right. I'm going to go to... That's all right. You go. I'm just going to stand here by myself. It's fine. With Shay. What's up, girl? How you doing? All right. Let's see. James says, I want to beat the Giants so bad, but I'm in reality, the 2 games after are more important. So, yeah, I guess the NFC matchup is a little less important. Like, if you had to pick one to lose, but the Jets should be able to beat teams and not play down to the level of their competition. And that's not to call the Giants necessarily like a bad team. They're playing tough defense, but the Jets should beat the Giants. The Jets should beat the Chiefs. The Chargers. The Jets should beat the Raiders. Those next 3 games, you want to see a 3-0 run. And even the Bills the following week in Buffalo. I guess if you had to pick one to lose, the NFC game is the one. But I want to win. Johnny says, guys, don't worry. My son is going to be the next Jets quarterback. He will lead us to the Super Bowl and win the championship. He's only 1 as of tomorrow. Johnny, happy birthday to your little guy who's 1 tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Johnny's son. That is awesome.
That's amazing. That's great.
Hopefully the Jets get a Super Bowl before, but I'm rooting for him to win us a Super Bowl also.
Yeah, I hope it's in conjunction with the Super Bowl we're talking about in the next few years.
Correct. Rodgers and company gets one, and then in what? 2044. We get another one from Johnny Jimenez. Son.
I can live with that. That's fine. I get to see a few. Hopefully, I'm still kicking by then. Nothing crazy. Stud City says, nah, he's worth about 10 to 12 million a year. Talking about Zach Wilson.
I think that's probably a better number because that's what a high-end backup is, right? Like, didn't Mike White get a similar contract to that?
I think he got 1 year, 8 million, if I'm remembering that correct.
Yeah, I think the 20 was probably high, but a high-end backup at 10 to 12 million dollars a year, I think is more than okay. I'm comfortable in that range. 20 is too high for me.
So he got 2 years, 8 million total.
Oh, really? That is a lot lower than I
That's a lot cheaper than I was expecting, actually. And I wanted to look up Zach Wilson. So what's cool is if you go to the player on Over the Cap and you click on valuation itself, there's like a little chart. So according to this chart, Matt, if you go over to Over the Cap, so I don't know if you've seen this before.
For who am I looking at? Zach.
Look at Zach Wilson, and then across the under Zach Wilson's name where it says contract history, statistics, valuation, click on valuation and look at the chart that pops up. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So it's saying his average is 20 million, but during the Chiefs game, he played to like a $32 million level quarterback. And then during the Broncos, he was a $23 million. And then during the Eagles, he was about 27 million. So the last 3 weeks, significantly higher than those first three.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, look at that's wow.
If you guys want to see what Matt and I are looking at, go to Over the Cap, look up Zach Wilson, and then click on valuation under his name. Very cool. It gives you, I think it's based a little bit on Pro Football Focus numbers in conjunction with the amount of players getting paid at their particular position. They have some explanations on like this scatter plot stuff, but it's pretty interesting.
How did he play like a $20 million quarterback in week 3 against the Pats, by the way?
That I don't know. That doesn't. that tells me someone was not watching.
Yeah,
maybe there's average quarterbacks that stink, right? Like,
I guess
Deshaun Watson's getting paid a lot of money to not play well.
That's very true,
right? $230 million fully guaranteed. Might have the Chad Pennington arm.
Oh no!
Suck it, Watson. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Sorry. Douglas comes in. Zach Wilson's future will depend on how he plays out the remainder of this year and how his relationship with his teammates and the organization. I think the organizational stuff and all that's going to be fine. I think Zach's kind of turned the corner on that. A little tired? All right, I'm going to put you back full screen, Matt. I'll be right back.
Totally. Good night, Che. Zach Wilson's future will depend on how he plays the remainder of this year and how his relationship is with the teammates and organization. I think that area has definitely improved for him. He's been much more mature off the field, I think, specifically in some of his talks with the press conferences and with the media and really all things like that. It's an improvement. And if the guys actually believe in him, and I think he's going to have to put up a little bit more production. I agree that he has gotten better, and there are things to like about his improvement. Like, you got to score, you got to put up points, and we can't have every single week of no touchdowns, no picks, or 1 touchdown, no picks. And it's like that's fine to get you by, but you're going to start getting the ball in the end zone a little bit too.
Fungus Mungus does not like the over the cap rankings. How did he get to 32 million?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
That's why you got to look at stats more than just that. It can't be the only thing you're kind of picking and choosing. Dylan says Derek Carr is an average quarterback who stinks. He's not played great this year.
No, he's been pretty rough. That is a good example right now.
Ferris says, I hear rumors the Titans are open to shopping Hopkins. Would you be interested in a Hopkins trade at this point?
I like Hopkins. I think he's pretty solid. He still has a little something.
Signed him in the offseason. It would have been. I mean, I wish we knew about Corey Davis. That's the piece we don't know. Yeah.
That's the thing. They didn't know about that until when was that? August?
It was like the second or last week in August. It was just like caught us with our pants down. It was like I think it was during the Bucks joint practice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was definitely during Hard Knocks, right? And that
For
started in
sure.
August. So and it wasn't the first episode. It was like 2-3 weeks before the season. It was very, very close.
Yeah, very kind of frustrating for sure. It would have been nice to know that ahead of time because I'd be on board with that. I just don't know what it's going to cost to get him at this point.
Yeah.
Kevin S says, I feel like the most consequential game was Cousins winning. Cousins against San Francisco? I don't think Cousins was getting traded. It sounded like Cousins wasn't going to waive his no trade clause.
He wasn't. So it didn't matter. They could have won. They could have lost. Even if they were losing out, I don't think he wanted to waive it to go anywhere.
Yeah, at that point, you'd rather just stay in a situation that you know, and you're in a dome, so you're going to be protected from the elements, unlike New York. Like, he's in a better situation now in Minnesota to get a bigger contract afterwards. Do you think, how realistic do you think it is that he winds up in New England next year?
I would put that as an option, but I think I have a better option.
You think he goes to San Francisco? I would like to see Purdy sit for a year and then have Cousins be like the guy. Or you think they trade Purdy?
I have no idea what they do with Purdy. He is, I'll tell you what, this is my Brock Purdy take because he's a very controversial figure. I think people are way too high on Brock Purdy. And then also there's another section of people that are way too low on Brock Purdy.
Fair. I think that's a good analysis.
I think he's an okay quarterback. He's not elite. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but I also don't think he's like a bottom 5 or 7 quarterback that's being propped up by Kyle Shanahan. I think he's, in that average tier, middle of the road, 15 to 25, somewhere in there, depending on the week.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation because obviously Cousins, or Shanahan, has wanted Cousins for the longest time, coached him in Washington, and just hasn't really worked out to wind up teaming up together. Do you think Cousins would just take a cheaper deal to go to San Francisco, like make the money work for that team? Or do you think he's trying to go for another big contract? Because he's got the highest percentage of guaranteed money of any player ever. I believe it's ever. Definitely quarterbacks.
I was going to say, he's made a ton of money. He hasn't won a ring. So I think he would be willing to give up some money to try to put himself in a spot where he can win.
Yeah, frustrating. I wanted Cousins all those years ago.
Many moons ago.
Many moons. Douglas says Deshaun Watson just needs a massage, right? Yeah, let him relieve some of that stress. The unit says, man, I'm nervous about this game against the Giants this week. Getting butterflies already, and I'm not even playing. A must-win, the New York Bowl, plus all my friends are loudmouth Giant fans. We'll see, and it's a no-win situation if you're the New York Jets, right? Because if you beat the Giants, Giant fans are just going to say, like, we stink. It's not, it doesn't matter. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then if you lose, then it's like, ha, we beat you, and we stink, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's... I feel the Giants spin coming, that it's either going to be the Giants lose and it's, we are not a good team. You were supposed to beat us. Like, you're going over 2-5 team. And then if they were to lose or if they were to win the game, it was like, oh my God, you guys were all so cocky before the season, So it's really a lose-lose situation for Jet fans, I feel like, right now. But I just want to win the game.
I feel like you almost have to, like, blow out the Giants for it to be like okay, that makes sense for where you want the Jets to be. I mean, obviously we just want the win and we can keep hanging our hat on, he's our backup quarterback and whatnot. But for optics purposes, I feel like you got to win by like 10 points for it to be like, okay, that made sense.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Like for people not to say like the this or that, for the Jets.
Yeah, but that's coming.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a group text with a bunch of my buddies, and like all of them are Giant fans. I got one Jet buddy in there.
That's all it is.
The nice thing is there's a Raiders buddy in that group chat, and his team sucks. Sorry, Mike. Suck it. Told you Mike McDaniels was a bomb. I love that button. It's the best button ever. All right. Jersey Joe says, regardless of how Zack does, you draft a quarterback in rounds 2 or 3. So I guess, Matt, this is kind of an interesting conversation, right? Like, let's say the Jets have I don't know. Where do you think the Jets pick in the first round? Should we just say where we're at right now? About pick 17, I think, is roughly where we're sitting.
Sure. Let's say for safe, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Not,
let's say we're pick 17. Do you want to make the pick at 17 and have it be the best offensive lineman, or would you want to trade down and maybe recoup a second?
No, take the best offensive lineman there.
Yeah, I think I'm probably in the same boat. When is the earliest you would consider a quarterback?
Third round.
Yeah, I feel like I want someone with like a high upside that might have like some flaws that need to be ironed out over a few years. And like I would still roll with Zack as the backup next year, especially if he continues to play with what we're kind of seeing right now. Like I feel like that's enough to justify his spot next year.
Well, yeah, his role would be the backup, right? Mm-hmm. So that you're carrying 3 quarterbacks, and it's something that you could do now anyway. So it's yeah, I'm totally good with that. I think, you know, somewhere in that 3rd, 4th round, it happens. You know, maybe you finally hit on one.
Chrome says Zach Wilson been looking better since he met Donna Kelsey. It's like his spinach for Popeye, right?
Oh yeah, it gets us going.
I'm a fan. Stud City says the Raiders is a guaranteed W. Think so?
I thought that could have been I picked that as a trap game before the season for this Jets team. That was one of my trap game predictions. I don't think that's
traveling scares me.
Yeah, it's traveling night game. It's right before the Bills game, so there's a potential letdown before you get to the Bills Dolphins back to back. But I think they should win, especially with. I mean, is Jimmy G might not be able to go, so it's a late round rookie or the corpse of Brian Hoyer.
Got to win that game. Douglas comes in. Douglas says, sounds like Purdy and Zach Wilson are at similar levels. Only difference is the expectation of draft position. That's interesting because I think that's a fair conversation to have. If you took Zach Wilson with the Mr. Irrelevant pick later on, ooh, look who we've got here. I'll switch us. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Need to think this through. And bam. What's up, Green Bean? Oh, you got a little Green Bean over here. How you doing?
What are you guys doing?
We're hanging in there. We were looking for you. Like, man, where's that Green Bean character?
Dude, what a bunch of baloney, man. I got to the hotel at 8:55. I was like, dude, I nailed it. I'm going to get right up there, hop on. And they're like, we don't have you for tonight. We have you for tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, both nights. And they're like, I'm like, all right, well, just, you got a room? I don't care if I have to switch rooms. And they're like, we're fully booked. I'm like, on a Tuesday? Like, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
I'm not in Orlando.
That's ridiculous. So were you at like an adjacent hotel and then you're going to go to the other hotel?
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes away. So that's why I'm, and then I got to do their whole thing. I had to get a new thing,
Fun.
That's all good. What do you think about Green Bean? We'll ask you this one. Purdy and Zach Wilson, do you think they're on similar levels, but the difference is the expectation in relation to their draft position?
No. I think that Brock Purdy's short career, granted he's kind of falling out of favor right now. Everybody's kind of looking at him as, I think in their short, he's done significantly more with his short little career than Zach has done with his 3 years. So it's hard to say. I mean, I think Zach's probably more talented. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's hard to compare the two, man. I mean, I don't know. Zach might end up having a better career, but where it is right now, it's hard to say Zach is on the same place as Purdy. I mean, he had a better situation, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say having Shanahan helps a lot with Purdy. Matt and I talked about this earlier. There's guys that are really high on Purdy, like too high, and guys that are really low on Purdy being too low because they think it's all Shanahan. And it is a little bit hard to separate that, I think, from one another. But yeah, I from just a maybe question standpoint, I think Zach's draft position, had he been taken with the Mr. Irrelevant pick, we'd be I mean, well, he wouldn't have had as many opportunities as he currently had. That's, I think, the issue with where I see this. Like, we would have given up on Zack 2 years ago, probably.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny because the whole like number 2 pick thing versus the last pick in the draft thing is obviously a factor, but I think it's like we use it more, in my opinion. I think we use it more than it's worth. Like you look at like a Bryce Huff, right? Like he's an undrafted free. Look at like Antonio Brown, like 5th round pick, or you look at Antonio Gates, one of the great tight ends of all time, undrafted free agent. Like players come from all over the place, right? But it's like we're 3 years away from Zach's draft pedigree. I think at this point, and he's doing well. I hate to sound like this right now because he happens to be on, for Zach, somewhat of a hot streak. But 3 years in the league, all the college ball, although you should probably be able to play some football. Number 2 pick, 7th overall, 7th round. I don't know. I think he should be able to play.
MC Lane says, let's play a game. Remainder of the schedule, shoulda or coulda. Each game say if we should win or could win, and briefly explain why. So that's a lot. I would say the games I'm concerned about, because I think there's less. Every other game, I think the Jets should be in every game. But we were saying before, Green Bean, I think there is the floor potential of losing any of these games as well. But if I had to sit back and say, okay, if I have some degree of confidence in Zach Wilson, the 2 Dolphins games, the Bills game, I mean, I guess let's call it all 4 division games because like we still just have to beat the Patriots. We haven't done that yet. So I would say I'm concerned about those 4 games plus maybe the Browns game, depending on where that defense is at that time and where Watson is and how the quarterback situation's going up in Cleveland. The rest of the games, I feel like the Jets should be able to win. Matt, I'll throw it to you first. What games are should-have, could-haves, kind of? Which ones are you concerned about, I guess?
Yeah, I think I have 4 could, and the rest would be should. My 4 could are Buffalo, both Miami games, and Cleveland. I worry about Cleveland on a short week. That defense is really, really good. I know they had a tough game against Indianapolis this past week, but Schwartz is a really, really good defensive coordinator. And I think that's a really tough spot. And I know they haven't beaten New England in forever, but I think they I'm going to say should take care of business. So I guess that works then. Yeah, they should take care of business against New England. So of their 11 remaining games, I have 4 coulds.
I like that. Green Bean, where are you falling on this?
Let me say this. Can you guys still hear me? Am I good? Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. You're actually like crystal clear right now.
Fuck yeah.
Like, I don't know what kind of internet they run in there, but
no, it's my phone.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
The hot spot.
Full 5G, baby. I'm by the window on the first floor. I'm doing all right. Let's see. I think the Jets will lose 3 or 4 games, unless, collapse, whatever. I think realistically. So I think, now wait, just remember the remaining guys, shoulda or coulda each game. Say if we should win or could win. I think we should beat the Giants. I think that we should beat the Chargers. I know that they're still the Chargers, but 4 other teams figured out a way to beat them. So I think we should. Okay. Who else we got? So then there's the Raiders. I think we should beat the Raiders. Then it's Buffalo. Bills. Yep. Yeah. I think we could be, I wouldn't say should. I say that's could beat Buffalo. Is Miami right after them?
They are.
Yep.
Yeah. Think could with Miami. I think both Miamis are coulds. Who's after? So who else we got?
There's like Houston. Texans. There's the Falcons.
I think, yeah. They're both playing well, though. Let me say should Falcons, should Texans, should Pats.
So you only got 3. You got the Bill.
That's
There's
right.
the Browns, too. You good with the Browns? Think the Jets should beat the Browns?
Yes, I think we should beat them.
Noted Cleveland Browns supporter.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I can't
Staunchly
even
supports them.
I can't even get to could. with the Cleveland Browns.
Braden says, tell me about our new signing today, boys. I don't. I know it's a wide receiver. Added him to the practice squad. That is all I know about this player.
I thought he was only talking about JBC. I was like, oh, JBC, the guy they drafted? I didn't know they added a wide receiver also.
I assumed it was the practice squad guy. I could be wrong. I think it was Samini tweet about it, maybe. I did not dive into it.
I didn't even hear about it.
Lance McCutcheon.
Damn day.
Lance McCutcheon. What's his deal, Matt?
I don't know. I just read his name in the tweet. That's all I know. I know his name.
Let's hit him up on. Let's look at some stats. Pull that up real quick.
Okay, gotcha.
You pull that up. I'll go over to Kyle's super chat. Kyle says, "Can we please get an offensive touchdown on our first drive? Will really help to start the game 7-0 early. JETS Jets. Dude, I'm right there with you. You got to see a scoring drive early in this game. We put our defense in just bad situations far too often. But at the same time, I also don't want to see the defense give up like a very long 19-play drive to the Giants. You got to shut them down. Let's get a quick 3-and-out. Defense goes on the field first, shut them down, then go back and score a touchdown on the first drive.
Okay, he was with the Rams last year. He played in 10 games, 5 targets, no receptions.
Solid. All right. Practice squad guy. That's okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see Brownlee get a few looks at some point. Not that he's on the practice squad. He's on our current roster. But I would like to see him before I see anyone else from the practice squad. All right. We have reached the end of our show. So we've got the wheel of baggage claim.
Yeah,
Matt, by chance, I do have a list, Matt. If you don't have a list, I do have a list.
I was going to say, I have some real bad news, Ryan.
Okay. I have the list here.
Okay. I was going to say, I did not think to write names down. That I don't know why, but yeah, that didn't cross my mind.
Let me count. I'm going to count the OnlyFans as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's funny while he counts. I like hearing that because now I feel like I still have value. If you guys are like, yeah, we got it all in lots, all done, I'm like, oh shit.
28, 29,
Green bean, come on
30,
now.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So
Okay.
36 that we're working with right now.
Braden says we signed an O-lineman today too. Did we?
If we did, I definitely don't know who it is. That has eluded me. All right, so I can either count from top down or bottom down, or does this number mean the number that I start on, and then the next number is the number I count from? What do you think? Making things difficult now. Okay. Count from. Okay, so what number pops up now is not the winner. It's the number that I'm counting from in my list.
Okay.
22. Oh, God, it's got to be right in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right.
Rigged.
I got my starting point. And now this one will be the number from that starting point.
Oh, I see.
32. It's literally... Oh, we go... Oh, no. So now I just got to go up 4. Oh, it's Blitz Crew.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's easy. Thank
Blitz
you,
Crew
Blitz.
donated 10 memberships and sent in a few super chats tonight. So, Blitz Crew, you are a winner tonight.
Worthy of a mug, if you ask me.
Absolutely. I think he's got the mug. We were talking about this the other day. Blitz Crew, let us know what you do or don't have, because we could send you something a little different here. Let's go over to the wheel. All right. Of course, I'm not logged in.
Wheel. Spin
the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Spin the
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Does he say what he wants to win? Is he in there still? Where's Blitz Crew? I'm not seeing the name pop up. I'm assuming he's probably still there somewhere.
He's got to be here somewhere. He knows. He'll let us know.
Okay, here we go.
He's got a mug and a monkey shirt.
He's got the 3 monkey shirt. Maybe he wants a 3 monkey shirt. He wants a pillow. What do we get? Well, I hope you wanted a pillow because you get a pillow.
That was close.
Blitz Crew, if you do have a pillow, let us know. We'll send you like a coffee mug or something like that. We'll get you something. But thank you so much for playing Baggage Claim with us. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. All right, let's go around our panel and give our closing thoughts. Green Bean, anything you want to throw out there for us?
I want to say that Kevin S. has a comment in there that says, I just love watching Jordan Love suck. And I got to say, so do I.
That's my
I
beat.
love it. I love it. So, yeah, you know what I'm thinking? Because I have, no, I'm not even going to say it. I can't do it.
Okay.
We have the Thursday thick of it this Thursday, which is 2 days away on Green Bean. And then we're doing the Jets Giants live reaction and watch party starting at 12:30 p.m. on Sunday. You got to hang with us. If you're not, you're missing out. It's the best. And we're going to kick their ass. They're a good team. They're better than their record, but we're going to stomp their lights out in our house, in their house, while they're, it's a free home game, and we're going to take advantage of it. I love it.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
New episode of Just Jets tomorrow. We are talking about this game against the Giants. Jets by 1,000,000. How about that?
There you go.
Boys and girls, if you're just heading out, make sure you hit that like button for us if you enjoyed our little show here. If you are watching after the fact, don't forget to comment down below this video. We definitely didn't pick any qualifiers this week, so we're going to loop them into next week's qualifier. So I apologize. I dropped the ball on that one. We needed you, Green Bean. We needed you. We just get too many numbers and things. And
Yeah. See, thank you. I have value, everybody.
This is a value thing. All right, boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun. We will see you next week, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock for Talkin' Jets. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.
JETS, Jets!